Good afternoon. Today is Sunday, August the 4th. It is currently 12:07 p.m. Quick look at our local conditions. It is presently 88 degrees and rising in Athens, Georgia. Humidity is at 75. I'm saying 65%. Dew point at 75 degrees. Feels very muggy outside and will continue to feel that way the rest of the day. So as we look forward into today's weather, we're experiencing mostly dry, clear weather today. As we go into the evening hours around 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we're going to see a frontal line pass through our area that's going to bring some locally strong rain, maybe some wind gusts. I don't expect anything in the way of severe weather this evening, so nothing to worry about there. So all the news right now, we're interested in what's going on with Tropical Storm Debbie, which is presently located off of the west coast, southwest coast of Florida. It is moving in a northerly direction up towards the Great Curve of Florida. So what can we expect with Debbie? That's the big question. And for our area, spoiler alert, we're not going to see much of anything other than maybe some 15 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour gusts, maybe some heavy rains. So that's really kind of all we're going to get in Athens. And right now that's based on current model guidance. Right now the major three models are all showing hurricane. Right now, Tropical Storm Debbie, eventually Hurricane Debbie, making landfall again on that Great Curve of Florida. Once it reaches landfall, it's going to rapidly detensify back into a tropical storm where models are then a little bit confused on what it's going to do. Some models are having Debbie, all three models are having Debbie come up into southern to mid-Georgia, and from there, it's literally, we don't know. It's the models are right now doing all kinds of crazy stuff like this. They all kind of coalesce and agree that eventually it's going to head off to our northeast, probably more actually along the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So presently, let me get out of here. Presently, Tropical Storm Debbie again is off the western coast of Florida. And you can see now the storm is just starting to show some signs of organization. It is not yet a hurricane. So if we see here, this is going to be where the eye of that storm is going to eventually organize itself. That's moving kind of in more of a northerly direction right now. Presently, we have some tornado warnings, or a tornado warning in the western edge of Florida. This is going to be a little bit south of the, Bowling Green, Fort Meade, Bartow area. And if we look at the relative velocities on this, we can see a couplet right here. It's not a very strong couplet. This is more than likely radar indicated. Yeah, it is radar indicated. There's no hail associated with this event. So we're going to see as the day goes on, as this tropical storm progresses up the west coast of Florida, that you're going to see every now and then a radar indicated or maybe an actual tornado might appear. But those systems are going to, I don't think there's going to be like long, like this couplet right here. It might eventually turn into something interesting. But these are not going to be long track tornadoes. They're going to be pretty short-lived. So we'll go back out to the reflectivity and zoom back out a little bit, and we'll take a look at how this thing has progressed over the last little bit of time. And you can see here on the left here, kind of on the screen here, this is going to be where the eye is starting to coalesce, and eventually that's going to organize, and that's going to become a hurricane. Guidance right now is suggesting by the time this system progresses northerly into the Great Curve of Florida, that we could be looking at potentially like a Category 1 at the easiest, maybe a Category 2 millibars, maybe getting down into the upper 960s. I don't expect that the system is going to intensify much more than that. The Gulf waters are very warm, which is why this is able to intensify even into a Category 1 or 2 hurricane at all. So conditions are ripe for intensification. So from there, I mentioned that once we get onto land, it's going to rapidly detensify. It's going to go from a hurricane Cat 2 or Cat 1, whatever it is. It's going to go back into a tropical storm. It's going to take a trajectory across Georgia again, just somewhere in this vicinity of Valdosta, Tifton, Douglas, and it's going to eventually wind its way over here towards the coast of Georgia, and then on up into South Carolina and North Carolina, that coastal area. So the greatest impacts for Georgia are going to be in that Savannah, the Brunswick area, all the way up into South Carolina, Beaufort, and Charleston, because those are going to be on the eastern side of the eye of the storm. It won't even really be an eye at that point, but the kind of greatest intensification of the center of that storm is going to be where you're going to find, on the eastern side, we're going to find the strongest winds. And you can kind of see that evident right now where you have the tornado warning on the east side of the storm. As you get on more the northerly side of the storm, you don't have like that strong winds. You don't have the potential for there's a potential for severe weather, but depending on what the hurricane is and what category it is as it reaches landfall. If we look back at Irma was still pretty dang strong by the time it got up into our area. But this is not Irma at all, so it's going to be a pretty weak hurricane. So I think the greatest threat for Georgia, we potentially could see some tornadoes. Again, these are going to brief-lived tornadoes in that southeast Georgia area, and then the eastern portions of South Carolina is where the greatest potential for trouble are going to be. You're going to have some potential flash flooding occur in South Georgia, the Valdosta, Waycross, Brunswick, Hinesville areas. Clearly, there are going to be some heavy rains associated with all this storm activity moving in right now. Okay, so let me step back up into Georgia here. Later today, we are going to see some. We're going to see a line of storms pass through Georgia later today. And this, make sure I'm on the NAM 3K. I am. The line of storms that passes through, we're going to see that come in around 7:38, 8:39, somewhere along that line. That line of storms is literally not going to be part of Tropical Storm Debbie. It's just a band, it's a line of storms out in front of, not attached to the tropical storm. We could see some potential heavy rains. This is going to be a short-lived line. I'm not seeing it as a derecho or anything. I don't think we're going to have any severe weather. We might have some brief, stronger gusts. Maybe, depending on where the sail strengths are, we might have, some very heavy localized rain and potential for some hail there, maybe some thunder and lightning. But I don't think this is going to be anything to worry about. So it shouldn't stop you from going out and having fun, doing things. But just keep weather aware this evening. But just know that what comes through this evening is not part of Tropical Storm Debbie. So Tropical Storm Debbie is going to make landfall around 6 o'clock on Monday. It's going to rapidly detensify, going from that Category 1 hurricane, as it reaches into South Georgia. It's still pretty strong, and like 996 millibars, which is still like your Category 1. It's going to start lose some of its steam as it gets into the more of the Georgia area. By early Tuesday morning in Athens, we see some of the rain bands leading ahead of Tropical Storm Debbie start to encroach on the Athens, Georgia area. These rain bands, again, we're on the north side of the system, so I'm not expecting anything in the way of severe weather for the Athens, Georgia area. The most severe weather we're going to see, again, is going to be on that southeast coast of Georgia, Savannah, Brunswick, and the Charleston, South Carolina. So we may see some very heavy rains in Athens, but we're not going to see much of anything in the way of like strong winds. We might see some brief 15 to 20 mile an hour gust, if that. And again, we might get some rain out of it. So again, the models right now are really confused about what the storm is going to do. It's just kind of zigzagging around Georgia, but everybody agrees right now that this thing eventually is going to start getting back out into the coastline and heading north to kind of pick up with the jet stream, which is kind of scooping down and going up to the northeast right now. So that's your weather update. Again, we're still 88 degrees here in Athens, Georgia. Again, just to summarize, This evening, we should have nice weather today. Towards this evening, we're going to have a line of storms pass through Athens, Georgia, moving from the southeast toward the northwest. These are not related to Tropical Storm Debbie. It's not part of Debbie. Debbie won't affect us, if it does at all, until early on Tuesday morning. So, hope you all have a nice day. Enjoy the weather, and we'll talk to you the next time.